Welcome to Deep Dive Discussion, where we explore the ideas, strategies, stories, and inspiration that really matter. This podcast is produced by Estayo, the creator of this program. Now, let's dive in. Today, we're looking at something most of us know pretty well. Siblings.
The good, the bad.
And definitely the arguments, right? But we're exploring this kind of surprising idea that even arguing with them is a form of privilege.
It is, yeah. It sounds a bit strange on the surface. We usually focus on the irritation, the rivalry maybe.
Oh, for sure. Those old wounds are just things that drive you crazy. We've all got stories.
We do.
But we're taking our cue today from Estayo and Cocoh Lacerna's book, The Unseen Privilege of Complaining. Specifically, their 9th principle, all about siblings.
Right. And the aim is to maybe see those arguments, those connections in a totally new light.
So the mission really is to unpack why being able to argue might actually signal something valuable, something, unseen about that bond.
And it starts, like Yish and Cocoh point out, with something totally unique to siblings, that shared past.
Okay, let's dig into that. Share our history without needing an explanation. What does that really mean in practice?
Well, think about it. It means they were there. You don't have to explain the family jokes or why that one holiday was so weird
Or the context behind, why mentioning Aunt Carol's fruitcake makes everyone groan.
Exactly. They just know. Yish and Cocoh say, you are not carrying memory alone. Your siblings are sort of co-keepers of your childhood, your history.
That's actually quite profound when you stop to think about it. You're not the only one remembering the wallpaper in your childhood bedroom or that specific family rule.
Precisely. And that shared understanding, that's the bedrock. Now, where it gets interesting is how Yish and Cocoh want us to think about conflict on top of that bedrock.
Right, because usually argument's bad. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's the default. But they pose this question, essentially. What if arguing means something else? They say, the ability to argue means you have someone who is still listening, someone who still cares enough to challenge you.
Okay. So the argument itself shows engagement. Like they haven't just checked out completely.
That's the idea. It takes energy to argue, to disagree. Indifference, silence. That might be the real sign of a lost connection,
So the quiet isn't golden in this case.
Not necessarily. Yish and Cocoh actually share this really moving story about it.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
It's about a brother and sister. They had some disagreement, apparently not even a huge one, but pride got in the way.
Happens all the time.
And they just stopped talking
Yeah.
for years. Just silence between them.
Wow. Years.
And what brought them back together, sadly, was their mother passing away.
Right. Shared grief often forces these things.
It did. And while they were sorting through her things, they found old letters. Letters they'd written to each other as kids.
Oh.
Yeah. Full of, silly jokes, drawings, secrets, that kind of innocent affection kids have. It was like unearthing this past version of their relationship.
That must have been incredibly powerful. A direct line back to when things were different.
Exactly. And that's when it hit them. As Yish and Cocoh put it, they realized the privilege of arguing meant they had someone who had been there all along. Someone who knew that kid version of them.
And suddenly the reason they stopped talking probably seemed pretty small in comparison.
Completely small. That connection, that shared history, was worth more than the pride that had kept them apart.
That story really lands the point, and it also highlights just how long these relationships can last.
Yish and Cocoh really stressed that. Siblings are often the only people who walk through our entire lives with us.
That's true, isn't it? Parents might pass away, friends come and go, partners might change, but siblings often have this unique potential for lifelong presence.
They do. They're the witnesses to your whole arc, potentially. Which makes it even stranger, maybe, that we hold on to grudges with them sometimes.
It does seem paradoxical, so Yish and Cocoh are asking us to reframe.
Yeah, exactly. What if, instead of seeing arguments as proof of division, we saw them as evidence of something deeper?
Evidence that the line is still open, that there's still care there, even if it's expressed. Well, frustratingly.
Precisely. Think about the common complaints, right? My sister always borrows my stuff, my brother never listens. We always fall into the same old rules.
Oh, yeah, the classics.
According to Yish and Cocoh's perspective, those very complaints, those arguments, they show the relationship exists. It's active. It hasn't faded into silence.
It's the sign of life in a weird way.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
And it's crucial to acknowledge, like Yish and Cocoh do, that having siblings to argue with is not a given.
Right. Some people are only children, some have lost siblings, some relationships are just broken beyond repair.
So there's real privilege there.
Yeah.
They call that connection irreplaceable. And they suggest, before you launch into the usual complaints, just consider the alternative.
A life without that person who remembers you wearing braces or obsessed with that one band.
Exactly. Without someone who remembers the child you once were.
They really are like mirrors to our past, aren't they?
Ish and Cocoa use that exact idea. Mirrors of where we came from. They remind us of our roots, our simple, unfiltered versions of ourselves.
Kind of grounding, actually, when life gets complicated.
Very grounding. So arguing with a sibling, in this view, isn't just arguing with anyone. It's engaging with someone who has seen, as Yish and Coco say, you at your best and your worst.
They have the long view, the full picture, or at least a very unique part of it.
The you card, definitely. And that bond, Yish and Coco argue, it tends to stick around, even if you're not close right now, even if there's conflict.
It's like that unspoken understanding, a thread that weaves through time. That's a lovely phrase they use.
It is. So that argument, that frustrating conversation, maybe it's proof that the bond still lives, that there's still something worth fighting for.
And that fighting for it, or at least acknowledging it's still there, that in itself is a gift.
That's the core message.
So for you listening, the big takeaway from Ish and Coco is maybe to shift perspective. That friction, that annoyance. It might just be proof of a connection that runs deeper than the argument itself. It means you're not alone in your history.
And if that resonates, definitely check out the book The Unseen Privilege of Complaining by Yish Estayo and Cocoh Lacerna. It's available on Amazon.
Thanks for listening. Grab Yish Estayo's latest book on Amazon. Need business consulting, writing a book and publishing, or AI? Yish has your back.
You can contact Yish Estayo directly or just leave a comment.
Until next time, keep diving deep.